This will be an introduction to the preprint servers, BioRxiv and MedRxiv. I'm Bob Klaptor, the UTEP Science Reference Librarian. Now, what exactly is a preprint server? Preprints actually is a change of definition. The old definition was a copy of an accepted research article before it appeared in print. Articles used to be delayed by 3 to 6 months after they were accepted before they actually appeared in print. So people actually, the author would get like 50 copies from the publisher and he would send them around to various other researchers. The new definition in terms of these preprint servers, the copy of a research article before it is accepted for publication. Now, the preprint servers are open access websites that archive copies of academic research articles which are submitted by their authors. Those websites are largely hosted by major academic and research organizations. Now, when did they get started? The first major preprint server was ARXIV, hosted by Cornell University. Started in 1991, focused on physics, astronomy, and mathematics. Since then, it's added various other mathematical related sciences, computer science, quantitative biology, statistics, electrical engineering, system science, economics, and finance. This remains the largest non-aggregating server collection, including over 1.8 million articles. And at this point, it's actually about 80% of the preprint articles that are out there are on this server. Now, by 2009, there were 11 main academic preprint servers. By 2020, there are now over 50 academic preprint servers. And this last year, the pandemic has caused a huge surge in the use of BioRxiv and MedRxiv. They have become primary resources for the very hottest research on COVID. Now, BioRxiv is hosted by Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory, which is a large research lab and educational institution. It's a free online archive and distribution service for unpublished preprints in the biological and life sciences. It started in 2013, and its collection now includes over 100,000 articles. Its website is www.biorxiv.org. These articles are not peer-reviewed or edited before being posted, so you have to remember that. It's an important aspect of these. Now, are the articles checked at all? Yes, they are. All articles undergo a basic screening process to make sure they don't have offensive or non-scientific content and for material that might pose a health or biosecurity risk, plus to check for plagiarism. Articles may be posted prior to or concurrently with submission to a journal, and they should not be posted if they have already been accepted for publication. Now, BioRxiv has a number of areas of research coverage: animal behavior and cognition, biochemistry, bioengineering, bioinformatics, biophysics, cancer biology, cell biology, clinical trials, developmental biology, ecology, epidemiology, evolutionary biology, genetics, genomics, immunology, microbiology, molecular biology, neuroscience, paleontology, pathology, pharmacology and toxicology, physiology, plant biology, scientific communication and education, synthetic biology and systems biology, plus zoology. Now, when you submit an researcher submits an article, they will designate one of these areas as being the primary area of focus for that article. So it will be in a section. People can actually, when they search on this database, can limit to just one section if they wish. So that can help you focus in a little bit. Now, some of the big questions for faculty. Will my journal publisher let me post a preprint? Okay. Most research journals now allow posting on preprint servers, but you should check with the publisher. They'll have a policy. Be sure to check it before you submit your article, okay? Um, Another place you can check, Sherpa Romeo site does list most publishers and journals, and they list the full publisher policies, both with respect to preprint servers and with respect to self-archiving options for the authors. So check before you submit, okay? And remember, your articles must be posted to the server before it is accepted for publication, okay? Now, there are a wide variety of other issues. There's a FAQ section on the site, so you can get these in much more detail with a bunch of other issues. The author will have own copyright to the publication. There are a number of various reuse options where they can limit to only certain uses for people to reuse their articles or material from their articles, or they can leave it open-ended, okay? Now, these preprint servers allow, and this is pretty typical, text and data mining is allowed on the server. This is a popular thing with things like when you get into bioinformatics, for example, you actually want to be able to do data mining into an article, okay? And you want to look at particular aspects of it. So this is importantly, or you're doing a metadata analysis, this is an important research tool for certain types of review materials, for certain types of research. So they allow text and data mining in the site. It also makes it easier for third parties who are indexing the article. Okay. Remember, there are no fees are charged. Okay. The author is not charged anything for putting the article on this server. Now, when the articles are put on, the author can revise them. There is facility, so other researchers can look at the article and they make suggestions about sections of it. They can put comments in. The author can look at those, and if they decide, they can go and revise portions of their article. But they cannot withdraw the article. Now, what if they go and do a subsequent experiment and they find out, whoops, I messed up on that earlier one? In that case, what they allow is the original article will still be on the server, okay? But there will be a note attached that the author has withdrawn, i.e. has come up with a more recent article that does corrections to his previous research. And there'll be a link then to the newer article, okay? The preprints will receive DOIs and they will be indexed, okay? So that'll help people actually retrieve them. Now that's an important thing, remember. They receive DOIs. So even if the article is subsequently published, the preprint will still exist as a unique item, okay? It will have a DOI assigned to it. That way people can find this on the internet. Now, is bibliometric and usage data available? Yes, and I will show you that when I do a very brief demo in a few minutes. The metrics can be found on each preprint's metrics tab. When you actually find an article, there's a tab there and you can click. These metrics are like probably 1,000 times what a citation metrics are, okay? It gives you article usage based on abstract, based on full text views, based on PDF downloads. Those are all given. If the article, alt metrics are provided, if the article has been used in various web sources, such as for news articles. Now, where are the articles indexed? Google indexes them, Google Scholar, Crossref, Meta, Microsoft Academic Search. They are not indexed, at least at this point, by the Web of Science. Now, Scopus, rather Elsevier, owns the #2 aggregator of articles. There are two large aggregators that have collected articles uh, from, and basically cross-reference articles from about 30 different of these preprint sites. Okay, Scopus has the third largest preprint site at this point. It's called SSRN. Elsevier bought it in 2016, so that now belongs to Elsevier. The largest one is put together by the Center for Open Science, and that is about 2.3 million papers indexed on it. And you see, about 80% of them are from the ARXIV site. Now there's a permanent Portico, portico.org is a collection where these are archived. This is most of the preprint sites start doing this, where they actually send a permanent site, permanent record of the article to Portico. So they have a permanent copy. Now, let's look at MedRxiv, open access preprint server for all areas of medical and health science research. Now, it is looking at research. If you get into doing a topical review paper, that in general will not be listed on these preprint sites. The preprint sites want you to have this as research. If you do some sort of metadata analysis type review paper, that can be listed. Okay. Now, MedRxiv is hosted by Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory. They actually host the server. Yale University and BMJ, which is a global healthcare knowledge provider. It was started in 2019. Okay. Similar website format, of course, web address. Now, along with the articles being checked, they also check, these are medical articles. They make sure they followed proper bioethical procedures in terms of their study. Okay, because that becomes can be a major concern in medical studies. Okay, so that's something to remember. Now, another factor is, these are posted before they're accepted for publication. Okay, they haven't been reviewed. That brings up an issue. Now, as far as the quality of the article, now they recommend you don't take these medical articles, since they have not been reviewed, you don't take them as, oh, this is a great result. There's been some people who have jumped the gun in some news articles with COVID, looking at articles posted on here as if, ooh, that's the truth. That's what they found in this study. Well, the study's not been peer reviewed, it's not been published in a journal, and they have topics that have appeared on both sides of issues. You have to be a little careful with medical stuff. Now, an interesting thing is, down here, these are all the same as BioRxiv, but here, they actually have in their FAQs that NIH actually encourages researchers to use preprint servers. They recommend, they want people to be into disseminating information. So they encourage researchers to use preprint servers. And this is a pretty big step for NIH, okay? Now, let's go look at what these look like when you try to go search them, okay? Let me bring up and search on BioRxiv. Now, note on both sites, in terms of their advanced search, if you wanted to limit the COVID, they have actually put these also in like a special subsite of its own, pulling materials from both BioRxiv and MedRxiv into a COVID set. What I've done here is I put together a search. I'll search on nanostructures. For subject area, I'll go pull out biophysics. Okay. I can limit it by other factors. I can limit it by date. I can pull out an author, a particular title. If I want, I can pull out a DOI if I have a DOI for it. I can search the abstract or the title, search different places. Okay. So you have various search options. Okay. You can order it by best match. You can order it by oldest first, newest first, standard things. So let's look at this first one. See, it's simple to do a search. Pull up an abstract and click here and get a full text. Now you submit your articles in PDF format and if you have it in Microsoft Word format. Okay, that's the preference. They will take them, they will produce an HTML copy for this part of the website. You also can look at it as a PDF. You can download a PDF. If they've included supplementary material, which sometimes they do, where there might be a lot of pictures, graphs, tables, rather than just what is inside of it, you can pull up that supplementary material. You can send an email it. You can share it with someone or share it with a website. If you want to download references to it, there's all these different citation manager formats, which includes EndNote, Mendeley, RefWorks, etc. Okay, EasyBib. And if you want to see how much it's been looked at, now this appeared in late 2010. It hasn't been around that long. I could pull this down by month. Look at that data. The abstract has been viewed 2.5 short months, 1,264 times. The full text HTML was looked at 106 times. 376 downloads of the PDF. You don't find anything remotely like that when you're looking at citation data. Okay. This is going to be, this is an issue for university administrations, I think, to look at real seriously as people start putting their materials up into a preprint server. All of a sudden, they're going to have these sky-high usage figures, and they have to figure out, what does it mean? Okay? Because this is substantially different from what we've been looking at in prior things when we actually look at regular citations. Okay? So let's go back. So you can do the advanced searching. Now, what about COVID research? COVID-19 preprints have been brought together, whether they were published on MedRxiv or BioRxiv. Okay, so on MedRxiv, you're probably getting a lot of clinical trials and stuff. In epidemiological studies, BioRxiv, you're probably getting a lot more microbiology. Okay, now, right now, there's well over 13,000 articles between the two servers on COVID. And all they've done is they put them, not only have links off of both sites directly, it's right at the top in red. But this is the link you can put in, which I know it's a cryptic link, but that's what it is. but it's right in red on top of both sites. When you pull up advanced search mode, it's right in red to get to that link and then pull it. Now, these are preliminary reports. They have not been peer reviewed. They should not be regarded as conclusive. They should not guide clinical use or health behavior or be reported as in the news media as established information. There have been problems with that. Okay. Now, what are some of the advantages why you might want to post your research articles in these servers or in a different archival server? Okay. One, it's visibility for your research articles. Just think of those COVID articles, that article we looked at, got that many looks. People actually read the abstract, and then a lot of them went and downloaded, 30% of them went and downloaded the PDF. That's impressive. Uh, you can get early feedback for your research articles. Now this is very cool, okay? Once you put it up on one of these servers, the servers have made arrangements with the journal publishers. So you don't have to do any reformatting or anything to submit it to a publisher. The server will, you choose the publisher, the journal, the server then, you can submit the article directly from like BioRxiv. It sends both the manuscript and the metadata, the format the publisher wishes to receive it. Okay. This is something I think that something of the future. Ooh, I can put my initial article up. I can refine that article over time. Then I can go submit it to the journal. Okay, and do my corrections. This is pretty cool. They have an extensive and expanding list of publishers and journals, list on the server, a big pull-down menu, and your research ends up being permanently archived on the preprint server. Plus, of course, if you end up publishing it on the publisher server. So this is potentially a pretty big thing out here. It's a new step in open access. So, for a quick summary, preprint servers have become major research depositories for the latest research articles in their fields. For COVID research in particular, these have become probably the big there's a couple other big medical sources for early exchange of research results. And this is the big thing in a lot of research areas, is to have early exchange of results rather than you're finding results like a year after the study was done. Okay. You can post the articles here, you can revise them, and you can easily send them to a journal publisher. Your articles will gain visibility, plus they'll be permanently archived. Now, some things to think about. I will leave you with this. Are preprint servers the next step towards truly open access? That's a really interesting question, okay? Where do they fit in all that? Because there's a lot of debate right now about open access. Also, before the modern journal publishing industry, researchers exchanged papers, okay? Sometimes directly, quite often through various societies they belong to, and they would exchange things. The society would set it up. And I'm talking like 1800s, early 1900s, okay? Are we going back in time, but using the internet instead? That's an interesting idea. Fermat's last theorem was exchanged by him sending a book. He was a judge. Sent a book to the French Mathematical Society, to a friend in there, and said, oh, I have this most interesting proof in this little book that I found. It was in nowhere than book on math, and he sent it, and well, the conjecture in the thing was Fermat's last theorem. In the notes, and Fermat grew ill and died shortly thereafter. But they exchanged information that way. Okay. Now, it's a big question: how will peer reviewing work in this model? Well, people can make comments on them. There's also several organizations. One from that list here from MIT. Take a look at the MIT www.pubpub.org. One of the big parts of this site is where people can do professional peer reviewing of research articles from these preprint servers. Okay, and you can register to be a reviewer. You don't necessarily have to go review things, but you can register. I did so I could play around on the site some more. But it's a very interesting idea that maybe we'll instead do reviews in a different fashion. Okay. And the whole aspect of research communities, they are part of this whole effort. Okay. You select basically by selecting one of these subsites, you sort of are joining a research community and putting your articles into the hands of researchers who do similar research. So thank you for being here. Does anyone have any questions? Hi, Luis. How you doing? Okay.
Sorry, I had the mute. Yeah, I'm in the library.
Oh, okay. Looks like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in other words, I can walk out my door and talk to you if need be, because I'm in the library.
But it was a very informative session and very rich in data, and I think there's a lot of it that I can use for my research.
Okay, good. All right. So.
Well, I appreciate very much your talking.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, Les, I think you can